here we are now after, is it 18
months
of work to create a product that we're really excited about. Phil, you remember back to the beginning, we first got into a conversation with a chap who had an idea about creating a CV, but a digital CV is what we first described it as, because this individual had been released from an academy and had no evidence at all of the journey that he'd been on. And I think the thing that excited us about that was our experience in design and software building, and how we could perhaps bring something to market that would ensure that all academy scholars would have some record of the journey that they'd been on. So as we started to think about that and how it might work, we brought into the conversation our friend Mike Hearn over at Wigan Athletic, who's the head of education and welfare there for the academy scholars, and he thought that it was a phenomenal idea, and was at the time studying a master's degree, and thought that it would tie in perfectly for him to be able to contribute to what we were trying to achieve. And in the room now, as a result of the work in that 18 months, we've got with us a young man who was at the academy at the time, Joe Winstanley, who is effectively a released scholar who is now successfully on a career path, entirely different to football, but in some ways related, working with us, developing our product.
Tell us your story, Joe.
Yeah, so started obviously my football career about the age of 10, where I joined Wigan Athletic from 2015 to about 2020. Left Wigan at the age of 16, went to Brighton for a year, and then left Brighton again and came back to Wigan. So yeah, that's my football journey.
So a bit of travelling in between, up and down the country.
North, yeah.
Best memories or highlights from time in the academy football?
Probably playing for England. Under 16 was probably my best off. When it was another one called the Floodlit Cup, which is like the.
Where was that at?
Which one? England or
Yes, England.
Oh, I played against Norway and Scotland in a like 3-year tournament, which was good. And then they have there's a thing called a Floodlit Cup, which is like the big prize, big competition. Everyone wants to win it at schoolboy level, so we ended up winning that as well with Wigan, which was really good.
Wow, that's tremendous.
Really
and
good.
I guess that whole thing in terms of memories, you've got them as memories.
Yeah.
But I guess that's about it, isn't it? There's no physical evidence of that you have, but obviously what we've been doing is trying to change that now for the better, I guess. And
how does you had to juggle education with the football at the same time? Tell us, what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you're growing up and you're in the schoolboy to 16 to 18, you just focus on football. But I think there's a lot more emphasis now on the education part. You've got to be prepared for if you come away from a game, you get injured, you're going to get released at one point. But obviously, growing up, you want to be focused on the football. But I thought, especially towards my 16, 17, 18-year-old kind of way, I kind of thought, right, I might need a bit of education behind me. I might need a bit to focus on that a bit more and almost think of a plan B.
Do you remember the first time that we came into the academy, Joe? Can you tell us a bit about what you remember about that?
No, yeah. When obviously Stuart and Roots came in, it was a good time to come in because I literally just found out I weren't going to get a contract. I weren't gonna carry on playing. So I thought, all right, maybe this is a good. And then I got given about a 2-page PDF at the end of my scholarship, and then I stumbled across Roots, and it was like literally a gold mine. It was brilliant.
Okay, so that's great. Let's just focus on that a little bit there then. So what I'll do is I'll pick up on where you said 2-page PDF, because this is what brings the whole thing to life, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that I guess scholars now, in the main, will receive, if they're released, a document from the academy.
Yeah, I've got pretty much a little 2-page PDF, like same across all clubs, pretty much.
Okay, how does that communicate what you're about, in your opinion?
In all honesty, I didn't think it was enough. I didn't think it showcased what my journey and what I did throughout my whole, from the age of 10 to the age of 18. I just didn't think it was enough. It was you get a little video clip, and then you get positions and a little description where you play and stuff like that. And I thought, like, does this show me? Does it show what I've achieved? Does it show who I am as a person? Does it show anything? I thought it didn't, in my opinion.
That's great. So, what?
Is it hard pulling together all the great experiences that you have during that journey? If you do it at the last minute, I suppose.
For me, personally, I thought it was hard because I've played football and academy football at the highest level you can for 8 years. So I'm not going to remember every experience and then be able to write them down. So I think it was tough to bring the ideas together to try and create something by myself.
Yes.
As well.
Okay, that's great. I think I can pick up on that.
Did you know? So I don't know whether I'm jumping ahead here. You're then being released.
Yeah.
You've got to either apply for further academic qualifications or a job.
Yeah.
What did you know? What were you going to do?
No, in all honesty. So obviously, I knew news got released. I kind of pretty much knew I didn't want to carry on playing at that level.
Yes.
So I knew we weren't going to trial for other clubs. So I thought, like, I've got to put a CV together now. Like, and obviously being in an academy football, I've never had to put a CV together in my life. So it was a bit of like, what do I do here?
So you just searched the internet.
So yeah, I thought I might be able to pay someone to make it, something like that. But yeah, I didn't really have a clue, to be honest.
So that's brilliant, because that leads into this idea that now we've got this evidence of the journey, and it's both in the format of education and your sporting achievements, but transferable skills as well, which show who you are from a sporting perspective and how those skills can transfer into employment in other industries, in other sectors. The idea in the first place was to ensure that anyone released had all of that information, and it was actually owned by you and in your pocket. So to be able to add content to this app-based solution that at all times is with you through that whole journey, from whenever you start to whenever you're released, means that you're not then searching the internet, you're not then looking to pay someone to put something together for you. You're immediately able to share that content.
I think as well, because you have so little time at the end of it. I mean, I got released in February time, and by May, April, March, you're like scrambling around trying to apply for jobs, and by the time you've applied for a job, and it's 4 months ahead, and you're not got income of money either. So it's tough. So
it's the immediacy of the app, isn't it? The fact that everything that you're contributing to it will immediately get populated. There is this immediate satisfaction. What I'll do at that point is just bring Adam Fairhurst into the conversation. So Adam's at Stockport Football Club education programme.
Yep.
And you're a mentor in the club. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, Adam?
Yeah, so do you want my backstory?
Go for it.
Yeah, so I started off, I actually taught Joe.
Go back before that though. Let's go back to the football when you were younger.
Give us that.
Yeah, so I started off just playing normal grassroots, got picked up by Man City. Played there for probably five years, I'd say. Had an injury, finished playing. Then from there, I kind of looked at myself and thought, I can't really play anymore. So then I needed to try and, again, like Joe, focus on my education. So then I went off to John Rigby College, did 2 years BTEC there, just probably similar what Joe would have done really at Wigan Athletic, and then went off to university and did a 3-year degree in physical education and school sport, and then went off to do my teaching degree. I had a really good teacher at school and at college who they really inspired me to want to become a PE teacher. So did that, and then got a job at St Peter's Catholic High School in Wigan, and that's where I met Joe. I knew about Joe he was a great lad. I didn't really know anything about him, to be fair, and then I started teaching him and was like, wow, this kid's pretty special. He's pretty decent. Found out he played for Wigan, and then just kind of gone from there. Finished St Peter's, and then went off to. I actually worked for Wigan Athletic Community Trust, and I came out of education for a bit because I didn't really. It's a really tough and competitive environment in terms of high school teaching.
Yes.
So I came out of that and went to work for Wigan Youth Zone as the football development officer. So I worked for Wigan Athletic Community Trust in a partnership really with Wigan Youth Zone. So I looked after the kind of partnerships with primary schools, high schools, just using my degree and using my teaching degree as like a source of just things to think of and think on the spot and adaptability, and just going back to your transferable skills, what you was talking about a minute ago. And then that year I was kind of in the development side of football. I thought I really want to get back into my passion, which was teaching.
Yeah.
And then got a job with Wigan Athletic Community Trust, looking after the level 2 programme. So lads who's not kind of got the right GCSE results at 16 to 19, and then trying to give them a pathway back into education and hopefully going from level 2 onto level 3 and moving up that way. And then finished there, and I went off to AFC Filed. It was a great opportunity for myself. It was really, really good. It was a bit of a, I don't really know where I'm going with my career, but I'm going to try it and go with it anyway. And I went off to there, and I kind of led the programme for, with a head of education, I kind of led on the curriculum and things like that up there.
So your roles, if you were to combine them all, is a bit of a hybrid set of experiences that you can probably relate to Mike Hearn's role at Wigan Athletic then, and what he's doing to pull youngsters through. And obviously there are those that make it into a professional contract and the large majority don't. So you'll probably have a similar view as Mike, and in his absence it would be good to get your view on how now using Roots at Stockport is I guess a step change from what you'd experienced previously as you released young men and women into the world of employment.
Yes, since going to Stockport, there was a real emphasis on boys applying for university if they had the right academic skills, and that's kind of the first thing that I've saw about writing personal statements or writing a CV. And boys are really stuck, and there's not much out there where they go, I've got to cram all of my education, experiences, academic qualifications, and I've got to cram it all into 47 lines. And they've got to try, and we've, as tutors, we're going, you've really got to try and synthesize what you're writing. You can't just kind of write 5, 6, 7 pages worth of content. You've got to really try and be concise and specific to what course you're trying to do. And since we've started to use Roots, and it's not really transferable into the university side of things, but these boys can then, if they had it a year ago, they could have gone back through what they've done and all the experiences that they've had with Stockport, all the experience they've had before, maybe at their academies or grassroots or high school, for example, and they could have had all that to hand and gone through, clicked in it. Oh yeah, I went on a trip to such and such a place, or I went on a trip to, or I played for.
You think
this
about
team.
the cup that Joe was.
Yeah, the Floodlit Cup.
You know.
Going back to what Joe was saying, you can draw upon them experiences, what you've wrote about yourself, the highlight reels that they've got on there as well, and kind of then write about in a better way to apply for university. And then the boys who, I think the app is brilliant for the boys who are not applying for university, because it gives them an understanding of what do I need to write in a CV. Because if I ask the question to some of our boys that we teach, what do I need to go in a CV? It's, your name, or what, and this is the app. What it shows them, and it gives people an understanding of the word I'd like to use is to showcase their ability and what they're about. Maybe not just down the football route, how academic they are or what transferable skills that they've got. I think that's the biggest thing that we have at Stockport, is using them transferable skills. You're not just a set of academic skills as a person. I think the main thing is the transferable skills that the education system can provide to an individual to then go off into, like Joe's done, and gone off into employment or gone off into higher education, for example.
Absolutely. I think you've made some fantastic points there. There's a couple of them that I want to focus on. You use the word cram information into, and that's probably what happens when someone's told with a few months before they're being released, right, I've got to cram all this information in. The beauty about what we've got with this app is that it can be added to and added to and added to, and it does become this, as we coin it, Phil, this digital career passport, a holistic development record. The idea of the old Burgundy record of achievement now in a digital format.
So do young people think that having an app is more of a modern way of controlling their life and destiny? I suppose the route that they're going to go down.
Yeah, 100%. I think we were talking a while ago about the instant gratification of the society right now, like the game playing, online playing, things on the phone. It's all instant success. And the fact that I think Chris came in and did a talk maybe 2 weeks ago to our boys, and from that, I gave the lads an hour to just go through the app, fill in their personal details, and it's pulled through some really, really good things from the box. Some of them have never looked at this app before, or they've never seen it. They've downloaded it, and all of a sudden, in an hour, they've got highlight reels on there. They're trying to showcase themselves to whatever, whether it's a North West Counties football club, for example, or an employment job. And I think the instant gratification that they've seen from working for an hour of their own time, just sat on the phone, like they would be playing a game, for example, putting it into their own time.
I think that the beauty is that they're intuiting it as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because it's exactly the type of control UI user interface that they're used to seeing in other apps.
Do any of them request a reference from you for it?
Yeah, so we've had boys now, we're going to, some of them have just applied for some scholarships in America, so they're actually using the app now to put all their highlight reels on there to send off to American scholarships. And they've just put my details or the lead teacher details on there, and then give them to send a reference off to wherever they'll be going to, or
That's
what
brilliant.
Scouts are giving them an offer, for example.
That's fantastic. What we're finding is that clubs are starting to find their own uses for it as well, and that's what we wanted. We wanted it to be a flexible set of functions that this suits us. This is how we're going to use it, but ultimately the ability to add audio, video, text, images, make notes, mental notes, have comments coming back from tutors on specific parts of the learning is what we find. People are just immediately starting to use that plus button and add content.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I suppose it's more than just the end product. Along the journey, they've got something to carry with them to record what's going on and to show to family members, friends, and before you even get to that.
I mean, for me, when I filled it out and went through everything, I was actually kind of shocked at how much I've actually achieved, and realised that I'm a bit more than I thought I was. A bit more as well. I think that was it shocked me a little bit as well.
That's a really good point, that, actually, because it's a self-fulfilling thing, that, isn't it? You populate as they have, and then immediately see it and hold a mirror up to yourself and go, actually, that is really good.
Yeah.
And I'm presenting myself in a really structured, professional way, which is, again, a really good benefit from it. So no, that's a really good point, that.
The thing we found with the education, there's that many different kind of systems that we use as tutors to log certain things for the students in terms of academic grades or work experience or where their destinations are going to be. I've definitely found, I've only been using the interface now for maybe 2 weeks and having a real good look at it, and we're having conversations at Stockport now to go, this could be used as one portal for us, instead of having 4 or 5 different interfaces that we have to use to log certain things. So we're having, preliminary conversations, but it's definitely something we're looking at doing, to integrate all them systems together in one place where the boys have it on a consistent basis. Where it's, let's say, we have someone come in to talk about a social media workshop, then the boys can take a picture of that person who's giving the social media workshop. Straight away, it's, lads, just log that on Roots for us, please. And then already it's just building that bank of that knowledge, instead of, right, lads, get your laptops out, you need to go and write this on this system and this system.
Yeah, that is a fantastic point. You're almost suggesting that it could become a convergent platform, one in which everything is dealt with by the mentor, but also then by the learner. Yeah, that's fantastic. The other thing that Mike mentioned from Wigan was that actually it could be used and the scholars could be encouraged to actually present what they might refer to as their showcase of themselves and communicate that back to the rest of the group using the app, effectively showing the CV in the browser and talking through certain aspects of their qualities.
Yeah, I think that relates back to transferable skills as well. You get boys who, like Joe's been in the academy system for 8, 9 years, 10 years, and he's probably never had an interview, for example. He's never stood up and spoke to people in front of a group, and then all of a sudden you're going to go and maybe have an interview, and using them skills that you've just touched on, or using the app to showcase and going through the curriculum. There are parts about the curriculum that you need to go and have them conversations with certain people and in a professional manner, and be adaptable and be creative, and this definitely allows them to use them transferable skills.
Fantastic. I mean, you talk about being creative as well, but within the control center of the Roots app, if Chris, do you want to put that on screen? We'll come back to the site but we can show the just a couple of things on the control center here that are around how an organisation can be creative. So what you're able to do is so this is actually, it's probably a good example, this, Chris. I could use this for this purpose. So if we take what we're talking about now, which is our roots, pardon the pun, in football to start with, expanding those out into education, and the hybrid that Stockport is displaying and demonstrating by using the system, and we then take it one stage further, there are effectively 3 users of the app as we see it. There's the ambitious learner at the centre of it, there's the learning provider, but there's also the employment provider. So my business, Magicalogical Limited, what we did is we set up an organisation within Roots. So we are effectively like Stockport now, and we use the Roots system, the control centre, and we've been creative with the qualifications that we can build. So we've actually built 3 T-level qualifications, and when we do, obviously we can build in the units and the modules that relate to each one of the courses that we create. And any T-level student who's coming for work experience at Magicalogical now will follow this set of tasks, and what we'll do is we'll grade them. We've created our own grading structure, and so if you think about being creative with the application itself from a learner's perspective, Stockport can now be creative with the way that you create qualifications within the control centre.
Yeah.
So we're constantly developing the way that this control centre works, and what you can obviously see here is what you'll recognise, the idea of the red, amber, green indicators that show how complete or otherwise an individual's app is. You can encourage the individual to start to add more content in education, etc., personal development. We've got the transferable skills in there and the ability to add justified ratings for individuals as we learn about them. And then obviously we've got our actual qualifications themselves, but as we're going to see it in a second, this is the CV of one of our T-level students. So what we're seeing here is what we've just been discussing. Liam Scott has been adding content to the app and following the framework and the structure. He started to add content to each of the units and modules, and we're seeing the use of video, we're seeing the use of audio and of personal statements, comments from myself coming back into these particular qualifications that he's studying at the moment. We're seeing their existing qualifications, any other academic qualifications that this individual might have studied. We get the bio video, so the bio video of the individual. In this case, we've put a demo in of Roots. Then you've got all your best bits, the ability to be able to show everything about you. This is actually when we created a promo video for Roots about 8 months ago now, with Simon Wilson involved, who you can see on screen now. And then beyond that, obviously, you've got your transferable skills showcasing in there. If there's football related or sport related attributes, they will appear in here as well. But as an organisation, as an employer, I can bring on people within my organisation now, and they can have an app that evidences their journey in work as well as actually in the learning process before getting a job. So
I think the aim was to provide the end product being a CV for the 21st century, because some people's CVs can look like they're from the 1950s.
Yeah.
It's modern, it's attractive to young people, and it captures all that. But I think the other thing we wanted when we started was to build something that was user-friendly for people like yourselves, Adam, who are helping people to learn and pass the way through a course. And I'm delighted with what you said, that it's so user-friendly and attractive to you that you're considering greater uses and wider use of it throughout the college.
Yeah, 100%. We've got there's so many stuff since having the interface and having the becoming like an admin on the site. There's so many things that I've written down already that we could easily use this for. Like we have some different courses. So we have a player pathway where the boys play football, and we also have a different pathway in the sport career pathway. So we have people who are on analysis. So we have people who are coaches, sport rehab, and strength and conditioning. So now we're just I'm in conversations with the course leader to talk about, instead of it being a player pathway, how can we then, for them students, instead of having minutes, instead of having coaches time, there's lots of different things that you can have in there. How can we make it as friendly for them so they can just use and add in how many minutes they've analysed, for example, and put the clips that they've analysed on there. And we've already started with the analysis team and just starting to change. So Chris has just gone onto it now, in the assigned profiles, we're changing some of these now for the specific course that they're on. So instead of having agility, game time, we're changing it so it's friendly for them to use.
Analysis time.
Which takes it even wider then, doesn't it? Because then you can once you go out of that, from playing to being involved in sport, you can then go to even wider employment opportunities, teaching assistants, there are thousands of jobs that you could apply what you've just said to, aren't there, in the way that the routes from the control centre to the app can assist people along that journey.
I think as well, going back to some of the jobs that the students that apply for, they're going to university, or let's say they don't go to university and want to apply for, let's say, an internship in, I don't know, internship at a North West Counties football club, for example. The North West Counties football club are going to come back and go, well, how much experience have you had? And then they go and they send this through to them, and they see for the last 2 years they've done, they've analysed so many minutes, they've done rehab on so many. Whereas in a CV, you probably can't have that. You probably can't show, what type of massage you've done, or on a generic kind of A4 CV. Whereas this, it's got the showcase, videos, audio, Word documents, however you want to do it, and change it accordingly to that person and fit the criteria that they need to move forward.
Yeah, just jumping on that, for me, the word CV just sounds daunting as a young person, just daunting to make. And then you jump on the app and it's not even like you're creating a CV. It's like you're creating a journey, you're celebrating the big pathway you've been through, and it's not as daunting as sitting at your laptop and just sitting there for 2-3 hours figuring out what do I put in here, what do I put in that. For me, it was just almost like you're celebrating a big pathway and journey.
I think jumping in on that, Joe, it's having a look at what do I think is the most important thing that I need to put on here. Whereas with Roots, anything you do, you record it without even kind of batting an eyelid. It's what do I need to put in a CV to make myself look the best version of myself. Whereas with the app, you just add it as you go through, and it's not that this is the most important or that is the most important. Somebody can look through that and go and look at something really minuscule and go, oh, that's exactly what we need. And we're looking for someone with that type of experience. We're looking for someone with that type of experience, and then it just goes from there.
Absolutely. I think that is an incredible point, well made, and the word daunting, and perhaps uninspiring. All of these words are things that when you are told you need to create a CV.
Do you think that's because, though, for most people, when they're creating a CV, they're at a the edge of a cliff, right? And they're told you've got to do something else. So even the Latin word CV, curriculum vitae, is fearful because you don't really know what that is, and then you're not sure what you're going beyond it. Where if you populate that app over time and keep it fresh with the things that you're doing, you're not faced with that massive job of putting a CV together at the last minute, because you've got lots of it there. You might just fine tune and tweak it depending on which job that you're then considering applying for, or where you're sending your CV off to.
Yeah, and on that point, Joe, if I was to ask you, how old were you when you did the cup that we were talking about?
I was 14 at the time.
14. So if this app had been in your pocket at that time, you would now be able to just look back at those video moments and see them all in the digital career passport.
I think as well that lots of people are learning now it's more than just academic qualifications, it's the whole rounded person. And the experiences and the lessons that you learn along that journey are something that probably we sometimes forget, really. But going to the places that people go in sport, and the punctuality you need to be there at times for training, all of those great skills that very often go from sport into other employment. It's hard to sometimes express that, and I do think that the app, makes that easier.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's also trying to getting the buy-in from them, whatever age they are, who's using the app. It's getting the buy-in from them to show them, especially with the students at Stockport. We've shown them how easy it is to, within half an hour of work, and then you can literally have the start. I'm using the thing that it is just the start, because they've literally been on it for half an hour. They've got something to showcase their academic results. They've got their transferable skills. They've got some highlight reels on there. You spent half an hour on the app. With it, what do you think you can do over the next year? And think of how much stuff you can put on there, and then how many employers would want to see and your experience, your journey, without just going, oh, he's not got a 5 in PE. He's not got a 4 or whatever kind of grade it is. And they're looking at the whole person holistically, rather than just kind of signposting them to a specific grade. And they're not just seeing that, they're seeing this, again, this digital passport. And I love that term. I think it's a great term to use, because I think that is exactly what the app is providing.
Yeah, and I think that connection between mentor in the control centre and all of your learners means that you can just generate that CV whenever you have the time to, just a quick click on each one of your learners, see how much content they put in there, and then message them, can't you, directly through the app to encourage them to put more in.
We've just started to do that now, so we're going to roll it out properly after Christmas. So I'm just in the process, myself and my colleague Liam, we're just in the process now of speaking to the tutors and hopefully getting them uploaded onto the app, so it's not just myself and Liam, so we can signpost each tutor to their class, and then it's the that learning journey with the tutor and the student. They can have that two-way conversation about, you need to now upload such and such a thing, whether it's education, whether it's an experience, whether it's a workshop, and it's just that two-way conversation that I really like, rather than a verbal conversation then they forget about it. It's literally in the pocket. They're getting out, oh, Adam's messaged me about the workshop that we've had, for example. I just need to do it. It's literally 30 seconds of a job, but next year you're going to thank me for when you've got 35 different things in there, rather than going, right, all them workshops that we've done this year, sit there for 3 hours and go and write them in. And I think that's the difference. Yeah, definitely.
That is massive, absolutely. To these individuals, this idea that you're responsible for these people on that journey, and to be able to give evidence of, okay, you didn't sadly you've not made it with us, but actually you've now got this evidence.
Yeah, I think a lot of giving them something tangible where they can go away with, and it's not just a case of you can only use it whilst you're with us. It's you've got access to this app.
What did you get when you left Edge Hill?
I just got a certificate with my name on it saying, if you got a 2-1.
I should take the word Edge Hill out of that. I should say, what did you get when you left college? Because I don't want Edge Hill suing me here, do I?
What did Edge Hill give you?
Yeah.
Just when I left college, it was just a certificate with my name on, giving me the grade that I got. And if I was to leave now with all the stuff, because college does so much for you, further education does so much, and we do so much for them at Stockport in terms of taking them to university talks or getting people in terms of we've just had the army in, we've just had the RAF in, we've had lots of different people come in to talk about the careers that they can do if they don't want a career in sport or football. And it's not that we do so much for them, and then when they leave it's like, oh, I've just got a piece of paper. Whereas now they can show, oh, they've had a workshop with the army, and it's then putting that idea in the mind that when you've come here, it's not just a case of I want a career in sport. You can do literally anything you want to do once you leave. But Roots is an easy way of just snapshotting all of that information and that experience that they've had over the 2 years to showcase themselves and their experience that they've had.
And you've also got the ability to stay in touch with that individual once they're released as well, haven't you, through the messaging. Yeah,
I think, again, that going back to that two-way conversation, having that two-way conversation with the individual and it kind of staying in the chat as well. I really like that because it shows them what I see of them in terms of do they need to develop their education part? Do they need to develop their qualifications? What is it? Like kind of I think they've rag rated it, haven't you, in terms of red, amber, green, and that again, instant gratification. It shows if it sums up red, it's like, oh, I really need to work on this now, and then you're giving them that time to go away and work on whatever they need to work on. And it's green, it's successful. I've done really well. And that, yeah. So it's from what I've seen so far, and again, I'm only probably a short way into having the interface properly. There's so much stuff we would like to do with it that could easily go and kind of rumble forward and keep rolling on.
Do colleges like yours need to track 2, 3, 4 years after the student have left, whether they're in employment or where they've got to?
Yeah, so the college that we're partnered with, they would do maybe, I think it's 6 months to a year, they'd do like a destination email, and we have to, when they leave, we have to give them a destination. So whether it's employment, whether it's university, and what this does is with the lads who maybe don't, or the girls don't apply for university, that's them conversations of, well, what are you doing next? And then it's a case of, well, I'm going to go and apply for an apprenticeship, I'm going to go and apply for whatever it is. And it allows them just to use there's so much stuff on there that they can use to go forward.
I think what we and again, Adam, you obviously starting to use and not only use the functions but use your imagination about how to use those functions for your own benefit within your setting. But I think that what you'll find when you dive a little deeper is that the ability to release a scholar, set their status to released, but then change that status when they're then employed, and stay in touch with them to find out how they're going on that employment journey, or into further education, using the messaging, means that you are building an alumni. And what that will allow you to do by filtering and searching for all those with different statuses is be able to say, in terms of years to come, this is how many of our scholars found another club, how many are now in employment, how many are in further education, and these were all in touch with following our duty of care to look after them beyond our academy.
Yeah, I think in terms of the football education programme that I'm on, and we want to look at and track how many are going to university, what percentage have gone to university, what percentage have got an apprenticeship, because then that just shows the destinations that as a college we're doing the right thing in terms of setting them up with a career, and not just kind of, oh, you've been with us for 2 years now, thank you very much, kind of into the real world. It's just we need something, and I didn't know we could do that after they'd left, so that's a little learning journey for me there. So knowing that we can do that and have them conversations of maybe boys we've not quite maybe had that conversations we want to leave, and it's, oh, what are you doing now, where are you, and setting that status to, and still having that ability to have that conversation.
Perfect. So here's the app itself, and this is Joe, this is your version of the app.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing obviously is the home page. In this instance, Joe's put a Roots wallpaper in the backdrop and a little profile image in the centre there. Along the bottom edge we've got obviously these 5 controls. The profile section, your qualification, course progression, which shows the courses that you're studying, and you can drill down into those. One of the things that occurred when we were first presenting this to scholars at Wigan, we asked the question before they had the app in hand: how many units and modules within the Sporting Excellence and Professional qualification? And to a man in the room and a woman in the room,
blank faces.
Yeah, you wouldn't. I think if I asked the same question to my lads, they wouldn't know that.
But with the app, as soon as that was in hand, we'd just say, and they'd literally drill in and say,
click on it.
I can tell you exactly what they are.
100%.
Obviously, we've got the plus symbol in the middle of the screen. I guess that's the core of the app, the ability to add content. So as you film, as you make notes mentally or verbally, as you write texts, you can add pictures and files, so coursework can be added. Anything you add can be added to any of those course qualifications or units and modules in the subsets. You can request a tutor comment from here and have that tutor comment be about a specific learning issue or just an overarching kind of reference. And then next to that, we've got the notification centre that we've talked about, a place where the tutor is able to communicate with the individual, encouraging content to be added to the digital career passport. Then on the far right, we've got what we refer to as CV Central, which, to your point about instant gratification, anyone adding content to the profile section, adding video, adding audio, can then arrive here and choose either one of two versions, interactive showcase or traditional CV, because we do offer, for those that still insist on it, a 2-page PDF version of our interactive showcase. But let's choose the interactive showcase. We can include or exclude our football attributes and then generate a view. So this is the user of the app being able to then immediately see this digitized record within which there are sections that can be expanded to reveal content that's been added. You've got your bio video in there that says in not so many words exactly who you are, so if someone watches that, they get a good sense of the individual. And then you've got your best bits, technical clips, anything that you want to add from a video perspective, and it's all there within the app. So that must be a joy to see your users opening that up.
Yeah, we've actually just kind of gone through our first years now. They're doing their Unit A, which is careers in sport, and one of the last assignments is they kind of have to apply for a job, and we've used Roots instead of writing their own CV and personal statement. One of the criteria is you have to process and provide supporting documents. So we've took everything off in terms of personal statements and cover letters, and we've just got it looks a bit ridiculous on the assignment, but it's literally just a link on the work that they've uploaded, and it's the actual app. So it's just like we click on it as tutors, and we can just go through that. We can literally just look through their CV without any passwords. I mean, some of them have actually generated passwords on there, so then no one can, if someone wants to get hold of it, they can't just have a look who they are. So some of them actually generated their own passwords, which was nice to see that some of them toggled it, and when they submitted their assignment, they put the password in there for us to, hi Adam, my password is such and such a thing. Tremendous. And that was nice. So we've actually used this now and to go on and showcase, to actually use it for our assignments, and that's been not the majority of the buy-in, but it's been a huge part of the buy-in, because then the students have then seen it and then gone, oh, I can add this thing, I can add this, I can add this.
Accelerating the evidence.
They've just ran with it then, and then I've got access to seeing all of them, and so have the tutors as well.
Fantastic. So it's a very simple app, isn't it? It draws on all of the things that the typical user at that age is doing already with their social media channels.
Do you think, Adam, most people in life, and Joe, if you can provide something that makes their life easier, then it's adopted, isn't it, quite 100%. Quickly? And yeah. I don't know, is that your view here?
Yeah, definitely. This will be rolled out easily. I think for the scholars, it'll be an easier way for the football element of things, and then for our education, there's so many different avenues that we can go down with them. Into, you know, some of them say, I enjoy playing football, but I don't want a career in sport. And then some of them have actually said, oh, how does this help me? How does this app help me? I'm like, well, you don't actually have to have coach minutes. You don't have to have that. You can have whatever you like on there, and it's all tailored to you. And I can tailor it as much as I need to help you in your journey. And that's going back to that duty of care again. I can just do anything I need to help them to go off onto their journey.
Fabulous.
Would Ofsted, I don't know, do Ofsted come into your place?
Yeah, they are. I wasn't there. I wasn't a part of it last year, but Ofsted was in last year.
Do you know what evidence they have to provide then? I'm looking ahead here whether this tool would ever, from an Ofsted point of view, tick a box there. Maybe
I think more in terms of like career paths and the percentage of people who are in employment.
Yeah,
I think the employability
you
section
on that, don't you? Yeah.
I think that would be going back to how many people have been released, what percentage of people are in employment. That could be used, or not. We could use that for Ofsted, because it's a lot of Excel spreadsheets of everybody's name, where they are, and then phone numbers. Whereas on the app, it's just type the name in. Oh, they're at such and such a place. It would be nice and easy to do.
Well, that's something that, again, Mike had said, that actually you talk about that accelerating and complementing the activities that you're doing already. There is an endpoint assessment, effectively, where an external assessor will look at all of the coursework for an individual at the end of the course. And Lee and Mike have said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to showcase and share the links to the browser-based view of an individual. The digital career passport then can be used for the endpoint assessors to see the coursework and make their assessments based on it, everything being in one place.
Yeah, imagine sending that to an external verifier. They would be like, whoa. Like, not just seeing, not just getting a bank of like documents where they have to go and sift through and make a report. It's, just this is the app that you need. All of the grades are on there, all of the work's on there, all of the teacher assessed comments are on there. You could, I'm probably talking maybe years down the line, but I can definitely see it. I could definitely see it going that way.
You could even go as far as saying, like, you could send it off to an employer. Even employers would be shocked, like, whoa, look at this, like, it's better than the normal CV.
In terms of the external verifier, if they saw that, I've just got, I applied to be an external verifier for the examination board that we use, and I would be shocked to see something like this, but I could see it definitely working. It's just all on the app, or you just click a link and you can see just one person's just everything that they've done over the 2 years that they've been there, instead of just there's a stack of documents, off you go and mark them. It could just be done all through the app.
Absolutely.
Exciting potential.
Definitely.
I think
Is that the full-time whistle I've heard?
That was an excellent discussion. That was great.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was
like Mexico, isn't it?
I really appreciate the feedback as well. It is. It gets what I'm wondering how I'm going to resolve a summer in here. So it's going to probably have to be a very silent air conditioning unit somewhere. But thank you. Let's set these off.
Adam, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good.